Hello, in this edition of GSheets with DLG, we're going to talk about sorts. Sorts are a way of reorganizing the data, so maybe you can focus on the largest values or smallest values. Maybe you're looking for trends, and sorts are really helpful because you don't have to, you can get rid of data that you don't want to focus on and just focus on the data that you need to. And so, first off, I highly recommend that when you are doing sorts that you freeze the top row, especially if it has data that titles and it doesn't have data that I'm computing, it just has labels. So I can click over here on this one and highlight the entire row. Then I can go up to View and Freeze. And it'll give me some options. I could freeze column number 1 if I wanted to, which would freeze the columns that say 1, 2, 3, 4, that number the months. Or I could freeze row 1, which is what I'm going to freeze, the labels month and number of days. You'll notice that it now looks a little different. And so no matter how far I scroll down in my Google Sheet, this first row will always be there and it won't change, which is really helpful if you have a large amount of data and you're scrolling through this large amounts of data and you want to keep track of which column you're in and what information is in that column. Well, now if we're going to sort, there's a number of ways that we can sort. You usually typically sort a column, and so I can use this pull down menu here and I could sort from A to Z if I wanted to put the months in alphabetical order. You'll also notice the other columns changed as well. All of these three pieces of data are linked with each other. And so if one of them moves, then they all have to move. And so you can see that happened. We still have February with 28 days, and it's still the second month. If I want to go back to the way it looked before, I can go back to data. And again, you'll notice I clicked on the first column, and I can put it back in numerical order. And so I always kind of find it helpful to have just a numerical numbering to kind of help me go back to my original sorting. I could just as easily sort numbers. Again, I can use the pull down menu and I could sort. It'll sort them from least to greatest. I could then go back, and again, you can also use the sort column. I could also modify it and go from the highest to the lowest, and that'll invert the order of months. And then I can always go back. So sorts are really helpful if you want to tend to group things and maybe count how many months have, in this case, 31 days or 30 days. You could easily sort those things, and then you could count them. Have a good one.